Anthony Fauci explained on whether there is evidence that the coronavirus can transmit through airborne spread. He warned that it should not be ruled out. Take a look.
Yes, it's referred to as aerosolized or sometimes referred to as airborne, which means as opposed to a respiratory droplet, if I cough or sneeze or even speak, you can get thin droplets that go out for a certain number of feet, usually 3 or 4 feet, and then they go to the ground. And that's the reason why we talk about the 6-foot distance. When you talk about aerosol or airborne, there have been demonstrations of viruses that can actually stay in the air for much longer and hence get caught up in the circulation system of a given room. There isn't a lot of definitive evidence about what the impact of the aerosolization is on COVID expression. However, we have some good examples back with SARS, which is a similar virus, where there were clear-cut examples of spread by aerosol. So although we don't think it's a major issue of spread, it's something that we can't completely rule out, which is a reason, Senator, why we insist that people wear masks, because that will protect you against that. This I have here is a cloth mask that clearly would protect me. So if you say it doesn't matter whether you put it on or take it off, you're giving a wrong mixed signal. The signal should be wear a mask, period. It's certainly not commonly. It is spread by the respiratory route. When people are close to each other, and I think what we need to emphasize today is something that we have to say over and over again. You should not think that the only way that you can get the infection is if someone coughs on you or sneezes on you. That's not necessarily the case. That certainly is one way in which it is transmitted. But another way is about 20 to 40% of the people who are infected have no symptoms at all. So you may be standing next to someone, and this is the reason, as the senator just said about masks, you could be standing next to someone who looks and feels perfectly well, who is infected, who is not coughing and not sneezing, but merely speaking to you. Because we now know from experiments using laser lights and various refractions, where when people merely speak, you can see very small micro droplets go out. So if you're within 6 feet of someone who is infected, even though they're without symptoms, there is a possibility that that person can transmit it to you or you to another person.
Now, speaking on that same Facebook event with U.S. Senator Doug Jones, on Tuesday morning, Dr. Anthony Fauci also reiterated the importance of wearing masks and continuing social distancing measures as the pandemic continues. Let's listen in again.
Actually, any covering, for sure, is better than no covering. The best one is the one you don't want to use because it really should be safe for the healthcare workers, and that's the N95. But the surgical masks that we have, the plain old cotton ones, the paper ones, they work fine. The cloth masks we found also work in many respects as good as that. If you can home make a cloth mask that really is the same as you see with the ones that are made by companies, they're fine. I wear a cloth mask. Some of you may have seen at the hearing that I was at, I wore a cloth mask that said my favorite team, the Washington National Baseball Team, but that was a cloth mask. Okay, I do believe a statewide mask order is important because there is a variability in people taking seriously or even understanding the benefit of masks. Masks make a difference. It is one of the primary fundamental tools that we have, particularly as you mentioned in the question, because a considerable number of individuals, up to 40%, do not have any symptoms, and yet they still can transmit the infection. And for that reason, we should all be wearing masks when we're out in public, particularly when we can't negotiate the distance between ourselves and others in public.